Hello, James here. I haven't did a video in a while. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffy. If I sound kind of nasally, I've been sneezing all day. It's these allergies I'm having. I want to tell you something that really is controversial. And I know it's a bit, but I'm going to show you some videos on couples who are middle class, they're black, and they're getting discriminated. Then I'm going to show you some videos on my like video that's showing where's the history of this coming from. I'm going to start with the present, and I'm going back to, I'm going to show you where this all come from. Meet couple number one.
If you're an Ohio homeowner, 2022 is the last chance to go solar.
This
December
couple,
of 2020, Congress passed
a
an
professional
extension
couple.
to the solar investment credit, which pays homeowners.
What happens when the home and space that you've occupied and invested in is not
Fair
viewed
use.
as valuable as it
Copyright
should possibly be
1976.
simply because of the color of your skin? Well, that's how one couple describes their experience when getting an appraisal on their home, and they say that it was undervalued simply because they are black. Joining us now are doctors Nathan Connolly and Shani Mott. Thank you both for being here. So let's just walk through the process here. The two of you were looking to refinance your home to take advantage of the low interest rates, and then what happened?
Well, we experienced discrimination. We made a pretty straightforward application to get our house at a reduced interest rate from 4.65% to 2.25%, and we thought we were in pretty good shape to be able to meet the mark. We had made investments in the house that exceeded, $30,000. We had seen the market on a steady uptick, and we had a baseline amount that was labeled as pretty conservative, both by us and by the loan officer at Loan Depot with whom we worked. And so we were very surprised to learn on a drive down to Florida we're making as a family that the home did not come in at value.
I mean, it's important to know that when we first started this process, we looked at a range of loan companies. And one of the things that I really appreciated about Loan Depot was just how communicative they were. And I had lots of questions. I was trying to kind of go by the book and collect at least, 4 or 5 estimates and talk with people and see who I vibe with.
So then you go and get a second appraisal after, in effect, whitewashing your house. Give us a sense, first of all, what you did to whitewash your house.
Well, we were aware that there were examples of whitewashing being effective in helping black families get the value that they were entitled to. And so we had to have a very careful conversation with our children. We knew that we would have to remove evidence of their presence in our home, evidence of our own presence in the home.
Because right from the beginning, it seems that you jumped to the conclusion, our house came in with this low appraisal simply because we're black.
Well, I don't know if it was that we jumped to that conclusion. I mean, we certainly gave the representative from 2020 Valuations, Mr. Shane Lanham, a chance to do his job. I mean, when we were in the home during the first appraisal, we made, light conversation with him. We certainly gave him free run of the place. We had some sense that discrimination was a problem, but we didn't expect that it would happen in this particular case. And so when the number came back at 472,000,
my jaw dropped.
Right.
I was like, this is racism.
Right.
Because we had done the research,
Right.
It's aside from researching to try to figure out what the numbers would be for what we could sell our house for, I would ask a neighbor if they were in the process of refinancing, what did their homes come in at? And
Right.
so we didn't go into this process, this refinance process blindly. We were educated consumers.
We did the whitewashing experiment, and even though we had already given Loan Depot comps that had reflected a value in the mid-6s or even higher, and we had been rejected, we left the whitewashing experiment to kind of be that final bit of evidence that we needed to be made whole.
So what did the experiment bear out?
Well, we had a white colleague meet the appraiser at the door. They apparently had some light conversation and shared some anecdotes. It apparently was a pretty easy appraisal. By the observation of our colleague, it didn't seem that there were a whole lot of questions. And the appraisal came back, I want to say, within the same week. at $750,000, which was
And your jaw
obviously,
dropped again, I have to imagine.
and it was just one of those moments where, you're kind of like, okay, this is real. You know about the history, but to feel like we're very much part of that historical process of black folk being devalued, of not being able to get a fair shake. And it also feels as though, frankly, we're at a moment where we need a new movement that is able to operate and be able to kind of distill this particular form of racism and really challenge it.
So despite this being your expertise, you still found this very hurtful.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because there's a dilemma, right? Like you live a contradiction. Like there are things that happen in this country where you're like, things have progressed significantly, and you never think that somehow you would be the victim of discrimination. Like you're like, I play by the rules, I do all that I'm supposed to do.
The other thing that made it very challenging was 20 minutes after we had gotten the call about our home not reaching value, we had gotten a notification from one of Shawnee's doctors that she had a mass somewhere on her, around her kidney or her adrenal gland, we didn't know. And so the process of trying to appeal the low valuation was actually simultaneous with us groping around for answers about her health.
Let me just say that I did this very resentfully. I kept thinking, what are we prioritizing?
Right, right.
Are we putting responding to Loan Depot ahead of my health? And so but I was like, this is something we have to do.
Right.
I'm curious how you explained all this to your children, right? Because there are certain experiences that you all are familiar with from enduring or studying yourselves, but then when you're trying to discuss with the younger generation about this is America, how do you go about doing that?
Well, I think it's important to note that the conversation that we had with our children was new in terms of this housing situation,
right.
But we make racial literacy a constant in our house.
Right.
We name power, we name blackness, we celebrate blackness, and so I think we just talked about it in terms of us making decisions to get what we deserve.
Lastly, kind of a two-parter and unrelated questions, but Shawnee, I'd love to follow up on your health at this point and at the same time on your household, because what did you ultimately have happen with the appraisal?
Well, my health, God, it's been a long journey. I'm currently starting a trial at NIH on rare cancers because it seems as though the chemo that I was on worked for a bit, and then they put me on immunotherapy, and I just had a serious allergic reaction to it and had to take 3 months off. And now I am, hoping that this trial does something with the cancer, the adrenal gland cancer that I have, because I'm not ready to leave this world. There's so much work to be done, and I am definitely ready to
there's something else to show you.
Love on my children, dream on my children, and educate them to be a force.
Relative to the house, it was important to, in some ways, get more photos of the family and kind of, reassert our place here. It was also, I think, important that we did, in fact, at least get a refinance that allowed us to bring our mortgage payment down. The market conditions did change. The interest rates went up, so it was not the same rate that we initially were supposed to be approved for. We had to change the terms of the loan by virtue of that from a 15-year mortgage to a 30-year mortgage. And so now we'll be, expected to pay an additional 15 years of payments on the property. And that means there are a whole host of things that we won't be able to do in terms of investments in, kids' college funds, being able to have equity, accumulate more quickly, just freeing up our income, in general. All of that has been lost through the actions of, a very small number of people.
Well, we thank you so much for sharing your experience. It was mouth-dropping you and eye-opening perhaps for many others.
So, we have progressed. Look at this couple. When you see this couple, you see that they could be the upper class. You could tell the gentleman is very, very well spoken. He's educated. They're an older couple. I don't know what their political party is. Whether they Democrat, whether they Republican. But they live in a nice area. They're from a nice area, but they're not your hood, low down, gutter shooting people. The honest, working hard people. Here's another couple. I want to show you this. This is happening now.
Just stay in the yard, eh?
This is happening now. This is happening in America now.
I guess we're rolling.
Not in the past. Now.
For 27 years.
You work hard.
2022 coming up.
You're professional.
I've driven drive-in for
It don't matter what your religion is, what your political affiliation is.
And now a program called
You see that they're educated. They're smart people, right?
After I retired
But at the end of the day,
I went ahead and
the complexion matters. And the complexion of this country rates even black people who are in a whole percentage than most black people.
Between the drive-in and the refrigerated division is I could have.
It's a part of American real estate that is immoral.
Here's another one.
Racist. It's called whitewashing. It's a process where African Americans may get a higher value on their property when they remove themselves entirely from the selling process. CNN's Joe Johns with more on what happened to one couple in San Francisco.
Tanisha and Paul Austin bought their home in the Marin
San
City
Francisco.
area of Northern California in 2016. It came with a coveted view of the bay, but a long to-do list.
It just needed a lot of work, but we was up to the task.
And their work paid off, or so they thought. According to court documents, the Austins added a deck, a gas fireplace, and additional living space. In January of 2020, with the build-out almost finished, they decided to refinance and take some cash out of the property. They got an appraisal.
It was right before COVID hit, so the rates were extremely low. So we were trying to refinance to take advantage of the low rates.
And to their surprise, the appraiser wrote in her report that the house was only worth $995,000.
We was sick to our stomach. We was upset. We was angered.
I was disappointed because, one, I knew that the house was worth more than that. And secondly, because we needed the house to appraise for a certain amount in order for us to be able to pull out the capital in it. And when it didn't come in at that, it was devastating.
They suspected that the seeming low-ball valuation from an appraiser who happened to be a white woman may have had something to do with their race, or their location, or both. Marin City has a sizable African-American population, unlike Marin County, which is mostly white.
She considered us living in Marin City and devalued our home based off of that.
And saw blackface.
So they decided to put their suspicions to a test. They requested yet another appraisal and got a female friend who was white to come to the house to meet the appraiser.
Watch this.
To make it look like this was her house.
I contacted her and I said, we have another, our appraisal came in low, we have another appraiser coming. Can you come and meet me?
But that's not all they did. They also removed any evidence that black people even lived there. A process that's been called whitewashing.
Took down everything that resembled that this home belonged to us.
Yeah, or to an African American family.
Our pictures.
Even, I would say, even my hair products, I put them away so that someone would be tipped off by them.
A different appraiser, also a white woman according to the Austins, who visited the house in February of 2020, came back with a valuation of more than $1,482,500. An appraisal 49% higher than the previous one. In dollars, that's a $487,500 difference between two appraisals that came about 3 weeks apart. In federal court, the Austins have sued the appraiser, Jeanette Miller, who gave them the lower estimate, alleging housing discrimination. Miller seller did not respond to several requests to either make
I
a
wonder
statement,
why.
grant an interview, or put us in contact with her lawyer.
I wonder why.
Devaluation of the property values and rights of African Americans and Hispanics is a deeply rooted American tradition that's starting to attract more attention in Washington. And it's not always about million-dollar homes. Andre Perry, senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, writes about it.
We found that homes in black neighborhoods are underpriced by 23%, about 48,000 cumulatively. There's about 156 billion in lost equity in black neighborhoods. 156 billion.
At the end of the day, the issue raised by stories like this is about loss of wealth in black and brown communities. If you own property and you want to take cash out to remodel, send a kid to college, pay bills, or even invest in the stock market, a low appraisal of your property can be a life-changing event. But this may be an issue whose time has almost come. This past June, the Biden administration announced a task force to start looking into the problem. John and
So they say.
Joe Johns, thank you so much. This is happening across the country.
That is such a vivid example. It's such a mystery, about $500,000. And Joe's right, it's a life-changing experience. First of all, you're talking about morally life-changing because you just think the system is stacked against you, but also financially, it's your life savings. It makes a difference that lasts forever.
There's more of a focus now, I think, on generational wealth and how that is really lost for so many African American families, and you see in practice why it is happening in Tahoe.
Was it really wonderful? Come rain or shine.
Oh, we got a couple. The wife, this guy's wife, is race affected. Watch this.
You don't want to miss. Google is the only platform
So
that
it
provides
is black couples,
level 2 quotes.
interracial
Up to 40
couples.
real-time orders can
Alright, we want to turn now to really a stunning look at racial bias that you have to see to believe. And this is in real estate. This is coming at a moment that the housing market's still strong during the pandemic and mortgage rates are low. But one family's home appraisal experience is revealing how different it can be for people of color. This is part of ABC's Turning Point, an ongoing series exploring social and racial justice. Here now is our Diane Sawyer.
Very sad about doing this, but kind of wanted to document it.
A woman in Florida is recording the moment she has decided to do something really hard.
Because it does seem like one of the few ways that we can achieve economic fairness by just having my husband be in the house by himself and taking down all evidence that he has a black family.
Her name is Abina Horton. She is a labor and employment attorney, and this is her husband, Alex Horton, an artist. Last June, they set out to get an appraisal of their home in Jacksonville, Florida, hoping to refinance and pay down the mortgage. A home filled with books and photos and love. Her family, his family. But when the appraiser came, Abina was there and said she felt something unsettling.
It clicked in my mind almost immediately. Why did I let myself forget that I live in America as a black person and that I need to take some extra steps to get a fair result?
The appraisal comes back. It is shockingly low. Even the bank couldn't make sense of that number. So she decided to get a second appraisal with a new appraiser. Same house, but something different.
Back with another edition of the things that we are taking down from our walls. Pictures of me, Black Panther. The primary thing that we did was remove both me and my son from the home.
When you're doing this, what does that do to the spirit?
It's crushing the spirit, of course. I'm ashamed of it. I'll be honest. And I'm ashamed of the fact that my son will see that this is something that I did. I'm ashamed to say that I really wanted to refinance and pay off my house sooner and have full equity in my home. And so I was willing to put up with that indignity to do it because I knew it was going to be effective.
She took down all the photos of her family, replacing them only with photos of her husband and his white family. And he is the person in the home when the new appraiser comes. And when the second appraisal comes back, the value of their house has shot up more than $100,000. A 40% increase.
It was primarily financial relief. And then I think it was about 15 seconds later when the tears came, because we realized just how much more removing that variable increased the value of our home. To know just how much, me personally, I was devaluing the home just by sitting in it, just by living my life, just by paying my mortgage, just by raising my son there.
Andre Perry, a fellow at the Brookings Institution, studies the effects of discrimination in housing.
What we found after controlling for education, crime, walkability, that homes in black neighborhoods are devalued by 23%, and cumulatively, that's about $156 billion in lost equity.
So we ask, what will these parents tell their 6-year-old son?
I'm going to be transparent with him.
But do you worry it will in some way make him trim his sails?
Every day I'm concerned about that. I feel as though he's a little boy who should be able to walk into a room, be who he is, be proud of that, and not shrink in any way. But at the same time, I don't want him to get the hard lesson in reality.
I'm Diane Sawyer.
Now you can see more of Diane's report tonight on Nightline as part of our Turning Point series special event.
So, what do you think about that one? Are we still in the 21st century, or are we back in 1955? And he said, well, that's just a couple. That was just what, man? One was California, one was Florida. Liberal states, right? Or are they Democrat? Are they Republican? Are they Christian? Are they Muslim? Are they believers? Non-believers? They're both educated. What's the problem? What's the problem? Oh no. This stuff don't happen in 2022. No. That's a delusion, right? And this is how some people in America are. Watch this. Another one. I'm going to show you the history where it's come from.
If you're an Ohio homeowner, 2022 is the last chance to go solar. In December of 2020, Congress...
The idea that the life that we built in this house would somehow devalue our property, that just was too hard for us to accept.
Dr. Nathan Connolly and Dr. Sean Imad are speaking out after filing a lawsuit against 2020 Valuations, its owner, and Loan Depot for violation of their rights. In their lawsuit filed last week, the couple says the owner of 2020 Valuations lowballed their 4-bedroom renovated home because they're a black family in a mostly white neighborhood.
This is really common, and people are now developing a language to be able to talk about it.
Like many Americans, the couple was looking to take advantage of historically low interest rates last year. After spending $35,000 on renovations, the couple decided to refinance their home. They filed an application with Loan Depot, a California-based mortgage company. The couple claims in their lawsuit everything went well, and the loan officer expected the house to appraise at $550,000. The lawsuit claims the loan officer believed the $550,000 estimate to be a pretty conservative estimate. But when the appraiser from 2020 Valuations arrived at the house, that's when the couple says the problems began.
When he came to our home, things just felt cold. He felt distant.
It was their first time meeting the appraiser.
And I remember feeling the tension so much so that I tapped my husband on the leg or the arm, like I shoved him. I was like, make him go say something funny to him, make him laugh, to lighten the mood.
After the appraisal, they packed up for a family road trip to Florida for vacation. That's when they got the call.
The guy from Loan Depot calls us and let us know that the value of the house was $472,000.
The lawsuit claims the appraiser used a sales comparison approach to assess the home. That's when an appraiser uses recent sales of a similar home in the area to justify the value of the assessed home. The lawsuit states the appraiser violated professional appraisal standards by improperly limiting the geographic areas from which he considered properties to compare. The lawsuit adds, the decision to geographically limit the area from which he selected comparable sales reflected his belief that because of their race, Dr. Connolly and Dr. Mott did not belong in Homeland, an attractive and predominantly white neighborhood. The lower than expected appraisal caused their application to refinance with Loan Depot to be denied.
I think I get angry with the fact that you have Loan Depot who
They're
saw
doctors.
what we were asking for as conservative. And then we, during this very difficult time, still managed to put together a rebuttal. And they don't back us up. They double down on the undervaluation of our home.
It was also during the trip that Dr. Mott learned that she was diagnosed with cancer. Months went by and they decided to go through the application process again, this time with another lender in a different appraisal company. And before the house was appraised, the couple removed any signs a black family occupied the house.
So then you start to get to the point where, you're looking for small fragments, right? Is there, a toy here or, a Christmas card there?
Hold on, that was the same couple. What? I'm gonna show now. I'm gonna take you to the history of where this come from. We're gonna do a history, and one of my favorite content creators, one of my favorite YouTubers, he keeps it real. He keeps it a buck. I'm gonna give you a couple stories, but this one is going to be 1951.
The police are out here, they're harassing. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my channel, Runaway Slave. This channel was created to promote my self-published masterpiece, The N-Word is No Secret in the Service. I wrote this book after I spent over 10 years as an officer in the United States Secret Service. During this time, I learned what true foundational, institutionalized, or systemic workplace racism is and how it affects my people. If you would like to purchase this masterpiece, just click the link down in the description. If you enjoy the content and would like to support the channel, please continue to like, share, and subscribe. In addition, if you would like to make a donation, we do have a cash app, which is $Runaway-Slave.
Let me get this one
If you're
out the way
45
first.
to 65 years old in the United States without life insurance, do not buy a
After this
policy
video,
until
give you
you
the
watch
history
this
of it.
video.
We're starting with this one suburban
More
town.
Threads, a brand owned by a former teacher
I'm
and
gonna do
Black
one more,
American
and I'm gonna do
freedmen
his video.
use their apparel and more to teach hidden truths
You see,
and Black American history.
it don't
More
matter,
Threads will
Black
address
people,
the lack of knowledge
how
and
much
negative
education you
images
have,
in our community.
what your status
Check out
have, who you married to,
www.morethreads.com
even
to
someone married
purchase our
to
apparel,
you.
read
They
thought-provoking
see the
blogs,
pigment,
and more.
the
Sign up to have
representative
raw
people,
conversations and wear
they down the
clothing that
property.
acknowledges, celebrates, and honors our
And buy to
lineage
say
at
that they will.
www.morethreads.com.
Right, let's say,
So you have this couple, that wanted to buy, some condominiums, and they were told that they could not buy some condominiums because they were not Asian. That's the way it rolled it.
The Grand West condominiums are 1 and 2 bedroom condos marketed to investors and homeowners. That was perfect for James and Misty Ra'amari, who wanted to buy 2 to lease and 1 for a family member to call home. And despite an uncomfortable tour of the property, they say they'd done their homework and were ready to buy.
This was a great investment opportunity for us, and we wanted to get the deal done. I don't have to personally deal with you, after I purchased, so it's no big deal for me.
But they say the realtor, who they say also represented herself as the owner, suggested they could not qualify for the right type of financing. When they told her they would pay cash for all 3 units, she told them she would not sell to them because she did not believe they could get along.
I felt very dark. I felt very upset. And as you can feel my vibration now, I'm still upset about this. She made it very clear.
The Ra'amaris are convinced she refused to sell to them because they're not Asian, and they had to speak out. They had to do something.
I was really flabbergasted because I was like, in this day and age, I know this is not happening, let alone to me.
They began recording the conversation with their phone and are now suing in federal court alleging a violation of the Fair Housing Act. Their attorney is Justin Moore.
The fact that this agent found the, gumption to post a marketing asset that directly promoted a specific race only buying into this community, and that in conjunction with the Ra'amari's interaction that they caught on camera, that let me know, and that led me to believe that this was pure racism, and the reason why they weren't allowed to buy into this condo community was because that they were black.
They are also suing the Homeowners Association and the umbrella real estate agencies under which they say the realtor, Josie Lynn, was working. We've reached out to all of the defendants. The Homeowners Association told us no comment. RE/MAX Realty sent ABC 13 a statement which reads, "We can confirm that Josie Lynn left RE/MAX as of December 2021 and had no affiliation with the RE/MAX brand in any way at the time of the alleged occurrence. Any use by Ms. Lynn of any RE/MAX branded materials after her departure from RE/MAX is impermissible and unauthorized. RE/MAX is committed to supporting homeownership dreams for everyone equally, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, nationality, disability, gender, sexual orientation, or family status." The Amaris are asking the court for $2 million, and they say when the case is over, they still want to buy in the Grand West condominiums.
Well, that's it. That's your people of color coalition striking again. See, this is why a lot of black folks, when you hear us say there's no such thing as no people of color coalition, there's no such thing as a minority coalition, because all these other groups are practicing anti-black racism. So you mean to tell me you could have sold 3 units, then you try to throw up a roadblock? Oh, well, you can't qualify for the financing. Like, I don't need your financing. I got money. Oh, well, you won't get along to people because, you know, you black and they Asian. Really? Now,
not
all
just
these
white
different
people
groups that come over here to this country, that black folks, it wouldn't have been for our fight and our struggle, all these other groups couldn't come here, and yet they're here with this anti-black, racism. But I'm glad that brothers and sisters are suing. Yes, sue them and get your money and get paid. Because I'm a firm believer that black Americans, you need to start suing. Don't let people treat you any kind of way. It's fine to expose the story, cool. But make sure you get your lawyer and you file a lawsuit. They're going to settle with them. They're going to settle. And when they get their money, they should buy whatever they want to buy. See, one thing that other groups don't like to see, they so used to in their rabid mind to thinking that we supposed to be all downtrodden, poor, not having anything. They can't stand to see a black man and woman, especially a couple at that, coming in there talking about, I don't need your financing, I don't need nothing, I got money. Well, how much it costs? Let's set up so I can wire this money and get this property. Oh, they don't like that. They don't like it because they think they can take advantage of black folks, and they thinking all of us don't have no money like that. This is why I want all my people to become successful. Because when you become successful, people can't take advantage of you like that. When you are in a position you don't have much, people love to dump on and do black people wrong. Just like we went, with Dr. Matthews and them to the Northbrook Apartments. They do those things to those brothers and sisters over there because they don't have the resources that say that brother and sister in this video have. This couple. They can actually get lawyers and go after them and file lawsuits. This is why, once again, we have to worry about black Americans and building with each other and realizing that we all we have. We have no help. We don't have anything. Because as you can see, these other groups practice anti-black racism. But yet, these other groups want to say, oh, we dealing with this issue and that issue and black people need to support us. Well, where is the people in their communities coming out and speak against this? Where is it?
Good question.
You're not going to see it.
Good
And yet
question.
the Democrats gave them a hate crime bill, but black Americans can't get one. Then they expect us to come out and vote for them in a midterm. This is why black folks say, man, forget y'all. Y'all had 2 years to do what's right by black folk, and you did not do it. Don't be looking at us talking about come out and vote for you. Or black men, you need to come out and vote. Black men don't have to do nothing. Don't have to do a thing. Because black people in this country are not protected. Black folks went in mass and voted for the Democrats. And what did black people get 2 years later? We're in the same position as we were when Trump was in office. Actually, in some instances, a little bit worse. Because a lot of you lost your job. Not because you just got fired from your job because you did something wrong. A lot of you lost your job because the president that you voted for force companies to let you go because of a medical decision that you refuse to make. Companies that some of you been in for years. And then the other day he just talk about where the thing's over with. What about the brothers and sisters' jobs? You gonna give them their jobs back? You gonna give them the money they lost back?
No, he get that to Ukrainians.
But y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Shout out to the brother and sister, like I said, for filing a lawsuit. That's good. They got up there to rights, and they gonna pay. They gonna settle with them. They gonna have to cut the check. That's for sure. But yeah, we don't have no coalition with nobody. Some individuals could be cool, and I've always said that.
Right.
Individuals of different groups could be cool with us, and if they cool and they rock with us, we rock with them.
Right.
On the individual basis only, not a group.
(2022), but I thought we live in the past.
They were already waiting because they heard that a black family was going to come move into their neighborhood. So these mouth-watering, knuckle-dragging beasts, they've been waiting. They heard about it because word spread. That's why the cops hopped out on them already with the gun, before they even got to the place.
1951.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of kicking off now.
Cicero,
These are out
Illinois.
here, they're harassing this rental agent. They got Harvey Clark. You know what I mean? The black man who rented the place. The police are harassing him, and the other white people are now coming out, building up, looking. What's going on? We heard some M words are moving in here. This, and that. You know how they do. Now, a police officer told Harvey Clark to get out of here or you will be arrested. A detective also told Harvey Clark that I'll bust you in your damn head if you don't move. So they're telling this man who's trying to move into this building that he just rented that they're gonna bust him in his head. Remember, this is a World War II veteran and a college graduate. You know what I mean? So Harvey Clark, he was eventually grabbed by 20 police officers, and they're trying to tell him when they're grabbing him, they're yoking him up, this and that, threatening him. They're telling him to get out of here fast, and there will be no moving into this building. So they're warning him, get out of here.
Cops did this.
So as they're telling him this, of course they're pushing him, they're shoving him, mushing him in the head. They push him all the way towards his car where it's parked across the street. They say that these police officers hit him numerous times while they're pushing him over there to his car. And then when they finally got him in here, they yelled, get out of Cicero and don't come back in town or we'll put a bullet through you. This is how they're acting. One black family trying to move in. Okay. So Harvey Clark, he must have knew some people, so he contacted the NAACP, and a suit was filed by the NAACP against the Cicero Police Department for what they did to him. Y'all see what they did to the man. So after they did that, check this out. On June 26th, a couple days later, Harvey Clark and his family, they moved into this building. So you heard what already happened the first time. They moved in. They got assaulted by the police on June 8th. They came back to move in on June 26th after I guess they felt that they did something by calling the NAACP. So now the Clarks, they're living at this apartment that they were told by the police and high-ranking town officials to leave and don't come back or you get a bullet. They're living there now. Now, of course, word spread throughout the entire white community that the Clarks were living in this apartment. Word is out. People were mad. And the white community decided they will all meet around
This is your American history.
just to do racist things to get the Clarks out.
It's part of American
So
history.
the word was
They're
out.
going to try to take out the books
they're foaming at the
because
mouth.
we're servers,
They are
right?
some M-words here. So they made it. They decided, okay, we're going to all meet on here, such and such day. So check this out. There are also other people living in this building, white people. 21 family members living in this building fled the building before the white community actually came there to meet outside because they knew what was going on. They heard what was happening. They knew they had a black family in there. They hear the white community talking. They're probably part of the white community, some of them themselves, probably all of them. They got out the building. They said, we out of here. So on July 11th, year again, 1951, at dusk, a crowd of about 4,000 members of the white community attacked the apartment building where the Clark family was living. Could you imagine that? So we talking people from towns and They said about 4,000 members. Could you imagine 4,000 knuckle-dragging, screaming white beasts out there for one white family? This is how they was carrying it, y'all. So the police were called and only 60 police officers were assigned to the scene. And of course, we know that these police are there, you know, they're going to do nothing anyway because they're part of these people who are out there. You know what I'm saying? So what's that going to do? What's that going to do? The entire community was out there, y'all. Man, woman, and child. This is crazy. So the history tells us that the white women were out there wilding. They said the white women were very active in this riot. They say many of the women carried big stones and threw them through the windows of the Clark's building, threw them through the Clark's windows. I mean, it was really wilding, throwing rocks, stones. The women were hardcore with this. The youth was hardcore with this. They said that people threw burning wood into the windows and onto the rooftops of these buildings. They were just going out, going crazy, burning wood, rocks, boulders, all kind of stuff.
This is American history.
So the white community got into the place, mobbed up. They destroyed the bathtub. They destroyed the woodworks, the plaster doors, windows. They set fire to the place. They destroyed it. You know what I'm saying? They did everything that they could do to destroy this place. They said that the teenagers were out there. Besides the white women were out there, the men were out there. The teenagers were out there wilding, rioting, probably with their moms and their parents and things like that. So people, the Clark family's apartment and the building is on fire. It's burning down. Firemen rushed to the scene. They tried to put the fire. They tried to put the fire out, but so the firemen came. They trying to put the fire out, but the white community was throwing bricks and stones at them too. That's deep. So the sheriff deputies asked the firemen to turn their hose onto the rioters, because you know that's what they do. You can spray the rioters with the water hoses.
Yep.
The firemen said, no, we can't do that unless our lieutenant tells us to do it. So you know it's bad when white sheriffs are telling the firemen to hose down white people because it's that bad. So this is just a big all-out riot. They say up to 4,000 white people throwing stones, brick, fire, just wilding. I'm going to read something from a publication from back then, a historical publication, whatever. This is what they said. The night the mob stormed the apartment and hurled the family's belongings out of a third-floor window, the sofa, the chairs, the clothes, the baby pictures. The mob tore out fixtures, the stove, the radiators, the sinks. They smashed the piano and the couple had saved up for their young daughter to play. Okay? They overturned the refrigerator, bashed in the toilet. They set the family's belongings on fire and firebombed the building. They even left the white tenants homeless. This is the evil that's inside these people's hearts. They got so out of control that the county sheriff, he asked the Illinois governor at that time, who was somebody named Adlai Stevenson, to send the Illinois National Guard. This is for one family, y'all. One black family, we have a war. The white community versus a black man, his wife, and 2 children. A war. This is how mad they are. So they call the National Guard. The National Guard shows up. The National Guard comes, they got bayonets, rifle butts, tear gas. Now, the National Guard eventually ended the riot by, they set a 300-yard perimeter around the apartment block in which the rioting was going on. So they had set a perimeter. They found a way, you know, to kind of minimize this riot, you know what I mean, to shut it down by setting up a 300-yard perimeter around the block where the apartment is. Now you notice the National Guard responded non-violently, right? So we got up to 4,000 violent white rioters. The National Guard comes and they're able to think of a way to do this non-violent without hurting any of their people. These people went nuts for 3 days, y'all. They went nuts for 3 days, and by July 14th, most of the violence had ended. They say when the riot was over, $20,000 in damage had been done to the building, and this is $20,000 in the year of 1951, y'all. 1951, $20,000. I want to go back to that nonviolent response. You see how they responded nonviolently to their community, to their people. Why do you think they responded nonviolently, y'all? We got people out here throwing fire bombs. I mean, bricks, bottles, whatever. Amazing. But they had a nonviolent response. Nonviolent response. Okay, so it's time for some people to be held accountable for this, right? It's time for some people to be held accountable for this, right? So the Cook County Grand Jury, which is the county where this town is located, they failed to indict any of the accused rioters. Check this out. Instead, they indicted Harvey Clark's attorney from the NAACP. Remember, he went to the NAACP? None of those white people out there got indicted, but they said, you know what, we're going to indict your attorney, Harvey Clark. Then, the owner of the apartment building, this white woman, Camille DeRose, and her rental agent and her lawyer, they were all charged with inciting a riot and conspiracy to damage property. So basically they said, we're going to get Harvey Clark, who is the attorney, the NAACP attorney for Harvey Clark, the woman who owns the building, Camille DeRose, and her rental agent and her lawyer. It's your all fault why these white people are acting like this, because you rented them the place. You did this. You did this. This is what you call not taking accountability, right? This is what you call, you know what I mean? So how dare anybody get in comments and say anything about black people? We need to take account. Black people always took accountability for everything. Even things we don't do, okay? None of the rioters were held responsible for what they decided to do, y'all. None of them. None of them were indicted for any of that. You know what I'm saying? So, eventually the charges were dropped on Camille DeRose, her rental, the NAACP attorney that Harvey Clark hired. Charges were dropped after the news, it hit the airwaves, and many people found out, because it was so blatantly stupid to charge everyone except the people who caused the damage. So basically word got out, and it was making these people look so dumb and stupid. Like, how y'all charging them? Even for white people, it was just like, this don't make no sense. So they had to drop the charges. So here's a little bit more legal news concerning this case, y'all. The United States Attorney launched an investigation into this incident, right? As a result of this investigation, the U.S. Attorney, a federal grand jury, indicted 4 Cicero officials and 3 police officers on charges of violating the Clark family's rights in connection with these race riots. So a federal grand jury, 4 Cicero, that's the town officials, and 3 police officers. Charges were dropped against the fire chief, whose firefighters refused to direct their water hoses at the rioters when it was requested by the police. Okay? So the fire chief didn't face anything because, you know, remember the firefighters were told to spray these people down. They said no. They didn't charge him with anything because his firefighters refused to. The police chief and 2 police officers were fined a total of $2,500 for violating Clark's civil rights. So they were charged, 2 police officers and the police chief, $2,500, $2,500. So out of the 120 mobsters or rioters arrested, 2 were convicted and fined $10 each. So they arrested 120 people that were out there mobbing and rioting. Out of all of them, they all got away. They got 120 of them. 2 of them were convicted, and their penalty $10 each. Amazing. This federal prosecution was held as a courageous achievement, since it was rare that civil rights in housing had stirred any action by federal officials. So they were like, man, we did a great job. Look at what we did. We got 2 of these white guys paying $10, and the police chief and 2 of his officers $2,500. Wow. So people, check this out. After all this police brutality, mobbing, rioting, this is pretty much a war when you got almost 4,000 white people attacking the residents of a small black family. White people got absolutely no jail time, and again, 3 police officers fined a total of $2,500. 120 white people arrested, 2 had to pay $10. This incident here was known as the Cicero race riot. Could you imagine that? When the world heard about this, right, it was a total embarrassment for the United States and the white community. That's like really embarrassing because this went worldwide. And it's like, hold up. These savages are out here mad and attacking the building of a small black family for doing absolutely nothing but moving in. But of course, in America, it was business, business as usual. But on the world level, it was, it was embarrassing. It made white people look very bad. You know what I mean? Because this riot was so big that it was broadcast on TV and all that. You know what I mean? So check this out, people. This white woman, Camille DeRose, right, who owned the building, she was an absolute nutcase. She was really mentally ill. So first off, she rented the Clark family this unit because she was mad that she had to pay some former tenants a portion of their rent money back. They got into a dispute. She had to pay some money back for whatever violation she was forced at. After this, she rented this apartment to the Clark family, and many people believe that it was out of retaliation of being vindictive or to just hurry up and get money back. She knew that there would be issues for renting this to a black family, and she was so upset that she had to pay this money back to these other tenants that she went and did this. Typical vindictive white woman stuff that they do often. You know what I mean? She was a complete nut. Listen to this. This white woman, Camille DeRose, she eventually sued 12 black people, and she even sued Harvey Clark and his wife for $1 million in damages. This is the woman who owned the building, y'all, that rented this to the Clark family. She charged them with fraud, conspiracy, and get this one, y'all. She also charged them with white slavery. She said she was forced into white slavery and illicit concubinage. This is what this crazy white woman said, y'all. This is a Karen. This is a 1951. This is a nutcase. She needed that medicine they got now for them. They ain't have it then. So I also seen an article in the New York Post from back then. This is back in 1950s or something. I seen an article in the New York Post where this DeRose lady who owned the building, she was charged with contempt of court and given 2 years in jail. She showed up this is a totally separate court case. She showed up with a gun, and she was running her mouth off to the judge, being a crazy nut, and the judge sentenced her to 2 years in jail. Cicero race riots, y'all. One black family makes the entire white community come out in flocks. This is 1951, y'all. This ain't that long ago. Maybe the majority of people who follow this channel were alive then. I mean, I don't know, or at least half. But luckily, the Clark family was not hurt in this. They didn't get hurt. The people who destroyed the place, the building, they destroyed their place, all their possessions and belongings. They even destroyed the place where the white people live. And another thing, y'all, let's check this out, because I've done a previous story with the National Guard involved in it. You notice how the National Guard was so tolerant and nonviolent. But if you go back to my video titled Orangeburg, South Carolina, 1969, the National Guard was called for some black students at South Carolina State University, definitely not in the thousands, definitely not waging war on somebody's residence or doing things like that, throwing firebombs, bricks, bottles, boulders, and things like that. They immediately opened fire on them kids, yo. They immediately shot into a crowd of black students. Look at what these white folks were doing, to the point where another white man said, hose them down, and they respond not violent. This is what people speak about when we talk about accountability and things like that. You go to a college where black students are there to learn, and you shoot into a crowd and you spray with bullets black children, but yet you can be non-violent with almost 4,000 white savages out here rioting, upset because one black family moved in. That's deep. But anyway, man, that's deep.
Well, this is what they don't want to talk about in history. History always, the point of this video was history always repeats itself. Now, I'm going to take you to the reason why, how deep it is with this video.
The physicist behind the H-bomb has just broken his long silence to issue
this video is going to be about
On November 1st,
why
1952,
the hatred
a
for
blinding
black people.
explosion ignited the South Pacific skies, a weapon
Assumption.
1,000
And
times more
how
powerful
was it
than the
taught?
nuclear bomb, with the power to melt the skin from our bones. And
This is
flatten
how it's
entire
deep.
cities in seconds.
That's why I
It's
said
never
we
been
got to
used
be
in
the people of
battle
the
by any
Bible.
country, but it's
Ain't
now
no
about
other
to
group of
change.
people that
Inventor
been
Dr.
hated
Robert
this
Allen
much
Darwin is
to
now
the
94 years
extent
old. He's
that
been out
it
of the public eye
requires
for decades,
death.
but he's just issued a horrifying
Literally
warning
death.
every American deserves
Ain't no
to hear.
people
The
I
scientist
know
spoke of a
in American
once-in-a-century
history.
event that he believes could occur.
And some people went through some brutal stuff, but when they did something like that, gee, one family. This is the history of America. They don't want the future generations not to learn. That's why it probably part of CRT. And one day some kids go from all walks of races of life gonna find this story out, and they're gonna have to answer, why did you do this? What was? How can you be so evil and do something like that? You know what? How can you do something that evil? How can you be that evil over because someone's skin color? How can you do something that evil based on the fact that they're just trying to live their way of life? Now, did it matter that what political affiliation that black couple was back in 1951, or and the couple was at? Does it matter if they were Democrat, Republican? Does it matter if they were Christian or non-Christian? And I bet you some of the people were Christians that did that. That did the rioting. They're supposed to be Christians. They're supposed to love Jesus. There's some people that do that. And they put over, you see the one video? And they can be like that. And some people you wouldn't even know. That's what I'm saying. It's never going away. And look at those black couples, and the interracial couple. They're professionals. They make good money. But that stuff is in the past. But yet it's at present in different states. And that's just a few. That includes other states and cities that we didn't even know about. It's uncovering that. And he'll just glide over that. And you know what he go do to the black people? He go pull the Stacey Abrams and all these black come out and vote. But he'll sit back on stuff like this. Or they'll just tell you just to pacify you. But you get your black celebrities out there and you vote. You vote Democrat. But I bet you some of the people in the crowd was Democrats and Republicans, right? Because at the end of the day, to them, it's about racial survival. And they don't, and that was trying to discourage that. Now, this man on the last video was just a bus driver. He was a working man. His wife was educated. Good looking young family. What did they do? What did they do that you had to take that much anger out? And look all the way into today. I have to paint the narrative because people say, well, I have to show the present that this comes from the past. And imagine if one day God would bless us to take our money, take our money and go put it in other nations and people. This company would drop. And it should be. I don't blame some black people that want to go someplace and feel. Do you understand why some of us want to leave and live in other places? Because we feel like we're a human being. You have to be constantly reminded you're black. All because of the complexion of your skin. I don't understand this. You're not black. And it says that goes to show it's a racial totem pole. Well, I'm Republican. I'm a Democrat. I'm Libertarian. I'm left-wing, white, pink, LGBTQ. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we have to use you. There's two words. One has to use you. One can't be hating on each other like a Biden and Trump. But most of it is that we'll pull you out when we need you. We'll select you when we need you. It don't matter. That's why I said don't get. I'll figure out something. don't get caught up in politics, because this stuff has been going on for centuries. Don't get caught up in politics because whether you're a believer or an unbeliever, because you don't know how some people really think. You don't know. And I learned something too, that there's other people that come to, even some people with the mindset, with the racist mindset on different groups of people, particularly black people. Knowing that we're one of the most highest spending, there's stats to show that we're the highest spending of any group. But imagine if black people took that money back and they come together. If our skin, to the point that it's that dirt that you think is that dirty or whatever, and think it's less value or whatever, then why should I prosper you? Why should I put your family for generational wealth in your pocket from someone that look like me? See, you understand? And it's too bad some of us don't think like that, because some of us don't see the bigger picture until you see it. It have to be put in your face. It don't matter if you're a Trump lover, a Biden lover, or any of that. Left wing, right wing, it's all about survival. You have to be independent for your own people. Because even other people say, we're just trying, we'll play the part, but this is what we really want for ourselves. People are taught that when they come to America. They don't care about you as a black person. Any person. Because when other practice group economics. That's why. You have to see it at the I had to show you at the different level. Now these people, most of them are upper middle class, upper to probably 6 figures. You understand how it doesn't matter. They always see your skin, and look how they practice it, and how they maneuver it, how they put it in the, try to hide it in the clause contract. I hope, if this offends somebody, I'm sorry, but this is the reality of America that some people don't even know about. You know, and this is what they're trying to write out in history. Display our suffering. We didn't go through that. Oh, it's just because you was just a servant. Oh, it's just black or white. We shouldn't matter. It'd be nice thing, but obviously black and white matters when it comes to get your house appraised. Black and white matters when you get from getting your house, getting certain things, credit, and everything. The banking institution is discriminating. Even in the midst of the economy, they can still discriminate. And that's why some black Americans are leaving this freaking country. What for? And be a patriotic to what? Be a patriotic because your skin? Here, you did everything to commit the American dream. Got the education, raise your kids up right, be a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, and you still got behind other people. This pisses me off. Because like these people that do anything, you can see that they're educated. Even an interracial couple, damn. Yeah. Even an interracial couple, you be a black spouse, your house go down in value. Take all the black mixed pictures out, which you have black children in. You have to see this. People still practicing racism in hierarchy places. Don't let them fool you all. We all. No, we're not. No, we're not. And black people from this country is constantly put into the permanent underclass. Even when they get to a few that make it from the underclass, they still got to go to a different level. Your education don't matter. Your prejudice securities don't matter. Because even then, it took a white secret society to bring the nominate of blacks, bringing the blacks into society, to use you for their own good. So even if you want to smart black people, you get to a certain level, you're not free. You the illusion is that you're free, but you really ain't free. You're one of my favorite. You're one of my. Well, don't worry about it. He's not one of the less educated ones. They don't care. There's a segment of society that people are still discriminating. That was the point of this video, and it's the history of it. That's how detrimental it is. I wanted to make this video because I want to open up people's eyes who come to my channel and see this video. I hope it makes it up. But that was the whole point of this video, just to open the people's eyes. It's still going on. And see, that's why they try to write this out history, because one day there's a God's gonna have to answer to. They're gonna have to answer to all these people that's doing it, to particularly different groups of people like us. They're gonna have to answer for this. And my prayer is that the ones who do this, they never prosper. I will never prosper no bigot. I will never spend money with you to make you feel like you're superior to me. And that just go for somebody white. That go for anybody. And black people need to take that kind of approach. Let them feel the wrath. Let them go through what we went through. Let's stop covering and trying to put everybody together. You're not. Because at the end of the day, they still trying to figure out ways to depress you and hope that you get depressed so they can slowly wipe you off the earth. Or you wipe yourself off the earth. That's deep, but it's the truth. Either you destitute, impoverished, prison, grave. That's what they want to see black people do. Uneducated. But the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. Because we are the people of the book. And one day they're going to stand for the one that made this whole universe and planet. And they're going to have to give account. And it would be funny if because of his complexion, he's about our complexion. He might be in the spirit. It'd be funny as I don't know what. Yeah, you've been racist all this time, thinking certain classes of people, whatever. Even one of these individuals just thinking, oh, it look kind of dark up here in heaven. I hope that would happen to somebody. And they get this surprise look like. But it didn't look like that in the pictures. It didn't like that in the books. Wait till they see the one according to Revelation 12. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. All because of skin. And even the Most High know this. Through his son Yeshua Mashiach know this. And this disappoint him. And it really does. See, God has watched this go on for generations after generation. The totem pole effect. When he really all to come through his name, Yeshua, Jesus. But yet you got people that even who are Christians, like any other group of people, find a way. Well, can you bring the Jesus that look like me? I don't want them to look like them. That's not what they don't really say that, but their actions show it. God was coming. And God knows who the direct racist and inner racist is. And I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. And hopefully it gets some views. But it's eye-opening. It has to open up people's eyes. And even, like I said, even if you're an interracial couple married to a black person, you see what happened, right? Wow. Wow, we all human beings. Certain demographic might think we do, but not when it comes to at the different levels. So I hope this would open your mind. That's why I always say it ain't racism, bigotry, bias is not leaving the earth until Jesus come back. Yeshua. Jesus to my Christians, Yeshua to my Hebrews. Because of stuff like this. So I hope this video was very intriguing, and I hope you learned something. Share it with somebody. Share it. This is the reality. Share it, please. People need to know. At a whole different level. Come to housing. In your house. Trying to get the American dream, and they still say that because of your ethnic background is less than. Even if you're educated, even if you got a high-paying job as a black person, even if you're still not enough. You should be invisible to be invisible. That's what I mean. They'll be visible to you're invisible until this mainstream. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right, take care.